you both agree on the human rights thing, on the need to stop abuse, etc. However, the best way to go about it, whether it's partial or total decriminalization.
Well, I think where we fundamentally differ, firstly, is that we don't believe that sex work is inherently abusive. We don't take that view. We think that sex work exists and we need to make it safer for those who are sex workers. Secondly, we don't believe, like Embrace Dignity believes, that partial criminalization will make sex workers safer. We don't believe that, and we believe that the research shows the opposite, that it doesn't make sex workers safer, and it doesn't achieve the goals of that we acknowledge we want to do, which is protect sex workers and ensure they're able to do their work in safety.
But I think we must get away from this thing of sex work being solely a woman's occupation. Because there are, I know the percentages, but I don't think the mustn't get into the numbers game. The point is we're talking about a principle of whether commercialized sex is work or not. That's all. Once we get to that, we get into the Constitution and to human rights. That's the point. There are many, I have a number of people I know who have been male sex workers for years. I've known a very few who've actually been escorts or gigolos, working out of very high-class restaurants, etc. Now, I mean, so this is something we're not going to eradicate, let's face it. But do we wish it to continue to be legalized, partially legalized, or decriminalized, partially decriminalized, or should we say, keep it as it is?
Well, I think gender, though, is very important when we're talking about sex work, as it's important to talking about any work, because we live, like Jeremy has said, in a patriarchal society. All work takes place in that context, and that's evidenced by the disparate pay that women and men have in workplace situations. The fact that most low-income work is applied, for instance, domestic work is applied to women and also poorer men, and black men and black women. So I think these are very important things to talk about, because it also means that the violence that sex workers is subjected to is not the same across the genders. So for instance, I believe that sex workers are at the front line of gender-based violence. They are really the first to fall when we're talking about violence, because they are working in very unsafe circumstances. The stigma that's applied to women who are sexually active, to women who exercise their sexual choices, is most prevalent among sex workers.
But that would that makes Jeremy's point
and
about...
even police violence.
But yes, but partial, if you do the partial decriminalization, means at least you will obviate some of the violence, certainly by the police.
She won't, though, not by the police, because we're still asking the police to police sex work. We're asking a highly patriarchal, masculine institution to continue abusing sex workers. That's what we'll be saying, because they will be responsible for finding the clients. And how will they do that? They'll watch sex workers. Sex workers stand in one place on one corner. Clients drive by. You would need to sit the whole day watching sex workers. You would need them to provide evidence. You would need them to participate in the prosecution of their own clients, making them subject to more violence. Since they're being surveilled by the police, they would need to work in darker, unsafe spaces to get away from the police. So no, it will not make sex workers safer. And in places where it has been applied, sex workers say that it has not made them safer. They feel more distant from the criminal justice system. They're unable to ask for help. They work in circumstances that force them to work with dangerous clients. They can't screen their clients. They can't work together for safety.
Right. Yes. Jeremy, I'll give you the last word on this. Okay. Please answer Sally's points, and it will be the last word.
I think when we partially decriminalize, we must remember that actually the sex worker is decriminalized, and the focus will be on the people who purchase and focus on the demand. So the extent of the industry will be lower, smaller, and which will mean that there will be less exploitation just because the numbers are smaller. The issue of focusing on the arresting of people, I think it's not particularly you would arrest people who've been particularly abusive, and there are many cases we hear of women who tell about abuse by whether it's police or clients or whatever. They would be able to exert that right to, and they would want to prosecute those who had exploited them. And a number of countries, France at the moment is passing it through its laws. It's been in the lower house, the upper house. So it's not, it is a practical approach to the issues, and it's being considered seriously in different countries, Canada and Ireland, and Britain had a joint committee of both houses. And so we believe that it should be debated. We've taken a petition to Parliament asking Parliament to address the issue. We understand the South African Law Reform Commission has completed its report. It's with Cabinet at the moment, I think. And so it's important, this debate, and we hope it continues.
Well, there you have it. That's the debate on the sex industry, on sex work or prostitution. It's a debate that's ongoing. It's an important debate. And you've heard some of the arguments here. I'm sure you have a point of view as well. But let's talk about it. Let's make decisions on a rational basis. Let's not get emotional about it. Let's look at the facts as they stand. Keep it as it is. Crime, criminalization, partial decriminalization, or decriminalization. Those are the three choices, and it's over to us. Thank you very much.